Ghost guns in California. The state attorney general is calling it a crisis, but a new report published today shows solutions are moving communities in a promising direction. ABC 10's Becca Habegger explains.
We've been able to really move the needle when it comes to our ghost guns.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta, in a news conference Wednesday, touted the findings of a new report showing California law enforcement agencies are seeing a drop in the number of ghost guns used in crimes.
Ghost guns are unserialized, untraceable firearms assembled by individuals who are not licensed to manufacture firearms, and mostly sold to people who aren't legally allowed to have them.
You may recall the tragic story in March of 2022 when a father shot and killed his 3 daughters, an adult chaperone overseeing the custody visit, and himself at a Sacramento church. Investigators say he used an unregistered ghost gun. At the time, he was under a restraining order that barred him from possessing a firearm.
The ghost gun industry has had widespread appeal to people who are too young or too dangerous to legally own firearms.
Across the state, the number of ghost guns recovered in crimes rose sharply during the pandemic, but starting in 2022 and increasingly in 2023, those numbers, though still high, are coming down. Over the last 30 years, Bonta says, California has reduced its overall gun violence rate.
That is because of action we've taken to reduce gun violence that are common sense, things like background checks and waiting periods, things like bans on large capacity magazines and on assault weapons.
The ghost gun report comes just days after Governor Gavin Newsom signed a package of more than 20 gun safety bills into law. One law lets judges consider stalking, animal cruelty, or threats of violence as evidence for a gun violence restraining order. Another newly signed law creates stricter penalties for gun owners whose guns are accessed by a child, resulting in death or injury. And another targets ghost guns by requiring law enforcement agencies to prohibit their contracted vendors from selling guns that are supposed to be destroyed.
Becca Habegger joining us right now. And Becca, on the federal level, ghost gun regulations are the subject of an upcoming Supreme Court case, right?
Yeah, in fact, justices are set to hear the case on Tuesday. You know, in 2022, the ATF expanded its definition of firearms to include unassembled parts of gun receivers and frames. Now, that was challenged in court, and a federal judge ruled the ATF doesn't have that authority. So the Supreme Court will decide whether to uphold that judge's ruling or overturn it.
All right, Becca, thank you for the update. We appreciate it.